This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code DETROIT to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
I was trying to get it how I live. I want them dead presidents. I want to pull up, head spin, get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. Get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. Full-time artist, ex-guard, he said grind harder, learn from every time you ever fail. If it never fail, just grind smarter. Iron sharpen, you the dag on their hindquarters and they all acting.
Welcome, everybody, to the weekend. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me is Vito Churko. What's up, my friend? Good morning.
Good morning to you as well. I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to the Lions playing the Green Bay Packers on Monday night at Lambeau Field. It should be a tasty matchup, to say the least.
Exactly, and that's exactly where I wanted to get started on this week's podcast. You wrote a great column, and your piece is an opinion piece, and your opinion that you wrote on SI.com is that Monday's game is a must-win game. Tell me about the premise and why you believe that's the case, why Monday's game is supremely important for the Detroit Lions.
Well, you know what? The Green Bay Packers, first and foremost, are leading the NFC North Division at 4-1. The Lions, as we all know, have that one tie from week 1 when they should have beaten the Cardinals, and they'd be much better off right now the rest of the way. And instead, they're 2-1-1 on the season, had to bye last week, could recover from that excruciating loss against the KC Chiefs in week 4. So now the Lions head into Lambeau Field Monday night for a Monday Night Football clash with the heated rivals from Green Bay. And as we all know, too, as Lions fans, I think at this point, because we've heard the premise, we've heard the narrative, that the Lions have won their last 4 meetings with the Pack. But 3 of those last 4, John, let me refresh your memory, perhaps, have come when Aaron Rodgers has barely played or hasn't played a snap. And one of the games, Rodgers was 3 of 5, had 5 passing attempts. That was last year in the season finale for both squads. And that was it for him. And then Deshaun Kaiser came into the ballgame. And then in the 2 games with the Packers in 2017, we had Rodgers not even play. So remember all of that when you take into account the fact that the Lions are riding high on this 4-game winning streak against their NFC North Division rivals. But truly haven't beaten a good Packers team yet. I mean, out of those last 4 games, in that 4-game winning streak, the Lions didn't beat a good Packers team. And then you bring up all of their history with the Packers. The Packers being 25-3 against the Lions in the state of Wisconsin since 1992, including a 1994 playoff victory. Green Bay has a 27-11 mark against Detroit since 2000, which is good for a 7-11 winning percentage. And it's tied to the Minnesota Vikings for the best winning percentage against the Lions for teams that have played Detroit 10-plus times within that span. Also, the Pack have a 16-3 home record against Detroit since 2000. Aaron Rodgers has led Green Bay to 7 wins and 9 starts at home against Detroit, throwing 17 touchdowns to just 3 INTs. And that one game over this 4-game winning streak that Rodgers played in the full game of, he had big numbers in that start for the Pack. So Rodgers still has killed it against the Lions. He's gotten it done in terrific fashion. And I think we all still remember, unfortunately, too, that Hail Mary to win that game at Ford Field on Thursday Night Football a few years back. And I don't think we erased that from our memory banks. So the Packers have gotten it done still much more consistently against the Lions. And you heard what I said, since 2000 now. And at home, since, the 90s, man. It's been that long that the Packers have dominated the Lions at Lambeau Field.
Okay, and I do like your premise saying that, you know what, the Lions have defeated Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, but Aaron Rodgers hasn't been, featured dominantly in some of the games. Obviously, the last one, Aaron Rodgers was knocked out of the game, and so you kind of downplay some of the victories. You want to see the Detroit Lions go and face this team led by Aaron Rodgers with their new offense, a defense that has been redone, reworked by the Packers and is very opportunistic. But do you, discount anything, or do you say there's a chance that without Devontae Adams that a victory against the Packers kind of takes away from the meaning because it's not up against, the Packers at their full health?
I would say no. And just because of my premise is that without Rodgers or with Rodgers barely playing, then I think you can take something away from it. And that the wins from the Lions can be discounted at least a little bit. And not completely discounted. And this victory on Monday night, I don't think you could discount at all because the Packers are still playing a really high-end and good brand of football at 4-1, leading the NFC North, as I already stated. So the Packers are a good team right now. And you could easily argue over the last 4 games in which the Lions have won all 4 times against the Packers have not been a good team. They won 6 games last year, 6-9-1, even a tie just like the Lions this year. And then before that, the Packers had 7 wins. So sub-500 seasons, 2 years in a row. This year's team looks like it's much better. It's clicking pretty much on all cylinders, not exactly on offense, but on defense. That's the difference maker. And the Packers, because of that, are a lead in the NFC North, are a contender, I think, as well this season to win the NFC. So I would not discount a Lions victory on Monday night, even without the Packers having Devontae Adams.
Okay, now some could argue and push back against your premise, saying, look, the Lions could lose on Monday Night Football. They still would be at 2-2. Then you come back home, a home game against Minnesota. Then you look at a portion of the schedule where it kind of eases up a little bit after the first 5 or 6 games, and you play the likes of the Raiders. So there's a chance potentially to face some teams that are not as good as the Detroit Lions and the Giants, led by a rookie quarterback. So the schedule, as the season progresses, if the Lions do indeed, in fact, get better, the schedule kind of eases up a little bit if you kind of look at the talent disparity. Would you agree with that?
Well, here's the thing, though. How I read into it all is that my article, if you read it closely enough, John, and I know it just came out, but read it more closely now after we record this podcast and look at how I pinpoint the fact that this is for respect for the Lions franchise. You got to win this game because of that. And that's why I label this game as a must-win game. So I know the schedule might ease up at some point later on in this season, but I'm saying for the sole purpose, almost, of respect, that the Lions have to win this game. And that's the biggest reason for me for why I label this game as a must-win on Monday night.
Understood. And you look at the schedule, and let's see here. You face the Chiefs, you face the Packers Monday Night Football, then it's home for 2 weeks against the Vikings and the Giants, and then you head on the road for 2 weeks against the Raiders and the Bears. So, it's shaping up to be, a schedule that, when you look at it, might, play into the Lions factor and things like that, but I definitely understand your notion of respect. I think, a lot of talk this week has been about Matthew Stafford, and I don't know, did you get a chance to hear what Carson Palmer had to say? He basically said that he was asked by Tiki and Tierney on CBS Radio, a national radio program, and they asked him, tell me about a quarterback that you've laid eyes on that really has impressed you, and he came out nationally and said Matthew Stafford is a quarterback that really, if he played for any other organization besides the Lions, would be much more heralded. And he basically dropped the bomb on the Lions franchise saying, look, that's an organization that's always had turnover, that it's a chaotic franchise, that the organization is holding back Matthew Stafford. And so I'm not so certain that even a victory against the Packers, now it would definitely put some deposits into that, but remember, Vito, 60 years of futility. The stuff that happens with the Lions you've never heard of anywhere else in terms of 2 Hall of Fame caliber athletes just quitting in their primes, the constant influx of talent. I mean, there's some things that happen with the Lions organization that you just never really hear about. I mean, you don't really hear about too many organizations asking for money back from their athletes. So I don't know. I just think that the national perception of the Lions is until they win like 2 or 3 playoff games and get back to some prominence, then that narrative, because it's been so vast, it's been so long, I think is going to continue. I'm not even certain even a blowout win against Green Bay on Monday night could sway some people. I think the Lions have earned a full bandwagon full of haters nationally and locally.
But John, a win on Monday night puts more respect on the Lions' name. And that's my point in all of this, and running that column that I did about the Lions having a win on Monday night and it being a must-win game because of the respect level being so low. It is low for so many darn reasons, right? For so many years of putrid play and inept play and guys quitting on the team having Kelvin Johnson give the franchise the money back. I mean, from the signing bonus and hard-earned money and what Kelvin Johnson went through, and that was wrong, and that was a PR nightmare. And there's been so many PR nightmares for the Lions over the years that, yeah, to gain respect for the franchise as a whole overnight, that's not going to happen. But I'm saying to start gaining respect, you need to beat the Packers on Monday Night Football. And once again, I said from local and NFL pundits alike. Now, really quick, regarding your point about Carson Palmer, what he came out and said regarding Matthew Stafford. Remember, Carson, last year Stafford regressed. Look at his numbers across the board. He was no guy that would have been heralded anywhere else last season. And I know there was turnover, a new head coach, and getting used to a new system perhaps. But he still had Jim Bob Cooter last year, by the way, who was a carryover from the previous regime led by Jim Caldwell. So realistically, Stafford should not have regressed. Maybe the defense should have, and it seemed like the Lions as a whole regressed a season ago. But Stafford, and what was year number 10 for him last season, should not have regressed. So him doing that, that's on Stafford's shoulders. And that's a black mark on his career, which I think before last season you could have said was a good career, for sure, from Stafford. And that these critics such as yourself were probably naysaying him way too much, and that it was unwarranted for the most part. Well, after last season, a lot of the naysaying and people turning on Stafford, you know what? It's coming from a good place. It's become warranted. So Carson Palmer saying that, I don't think you can say that anymore. Maybe going into 2018, but after 2018, you can't say that about Matthew Stafford.
What's it been like for you now? I know that, this SI opportunity has been new for both of us. We're definitely looking at the Lions a little bit more in-depthly. You've done a great job. Go back and look at the work that Vito's doing. He brings the knowledge. He writes very well. That's why I have him do a couple pieces. Look, ideally I'd have him do more, but look, he's out there breaking news in college basketball. He's making waves. He's out there doing a lot of things. So, look, I'm lucky to get him to write 2 things and to help out with the project. But have you liked it? Because obviously your first passion is baseball. But I'm just curious, are you liking researching the Lions, kind of digging in a little bit, learning about, I know you read Logan's pieces, kind of learning about the advanced metrics and the analytics and things like that. And now, you're kind of writing opinion pieces and looking at the opponents and stuff like that. Are you liking digging in a little bit more on the NFL side with the Detroit Lions?
Hey, it's money in my pocketbook. So I can't complain, man. Right? So I'm going to take it for what it is. And I do like the Lions. I respect them, even though maybe I shouldn't at times because of their play and whatnot and history. But guess what? It's a good opportunity for Sports Illustrated to have the site affiliated with SI. It is so cool. Really, I never thought it would happen. Even when I was really pursuing the journalist career, and that's kind of passed me by. But still, I'm running for a site, a Sports Illustrated affiliated site. I'm editing pieces. So I appreciate the opportunity. I really don't mind helping out and editing your pieces, even when they're hard to read. And then there's Logan. And Logan's been terrific for the site. He brings so much knowledge and knows so much about the game of football at a young age. I think the guy's even younger than me, and I'm a young 26, trust me. Believe he's younger than me, and he brings the in-depth knowledge and gets respect from so many people already. So think about this guy and what he can do for our site. And as he gets older and more opportunities, man, I mean, he's going to continue getting more respect and respect for himself and for our Lions Maven site.
Oh, so you're saying that if I put money in your pocket, you would write pieces for DSP for like the Redford high school football team. You'd go to the ends of the earth. You'd write for an East Lansing. You'd write anywhere. You're chasing the dollar?
Well, as long as it's close enough, I can do it remotely, meaning from home or wherever I want to be at, which I can do with the Lions Maven site. So I've loved it because of that. And now maybe one day I'll be able to go cover a game with you. So there's that possibility in the future, but you just paying me to go anywhere throughout the state of Michigan? Yeah, I'm not too fond of that, let's say. Unless the money is really good. And I mean really, really good.
I love it. And I think it's good, too, because I think I'm seeing, your growth looking at the NFL. I mean, your pieces on the scouting reports are great, and those come out on Thursdays, where Vito takes a look at the talented individuals on the opposition, and he breaks it down and gives good factual information, stuff that I in researching every single day, did not know about with the sites that he links to and things like that. So definitely follow Vito on Twitter at Vito Jerome. Read the site, si.com/NFL/Lions. We're putting out content every single day and meaningful content, stuff that I think if you're a Lions fan, you can take and say, okay, here's some knowledge that will help you as a fan learn a little bit more about the Lions and learn a little bit more what happens on the inside. I'll say this, Vito. One, sometimes people will say, oh, the Lions are buttoned up and there's not a lot of talk in the locker room. And yeah, there's a certain degree of that. But Darius Slay, if you just seen the video I posted from his media session, you know what? He's got a personality and it's good to see. I just wish a couple more would feature it. And, Darius Slay was talking about Aaron Rodgers and he was definitely open and saying, look, man, that guy's dangerous at any point in time. Not running the football, not passing the football. Just when Aaron Rodgers steps on that field, he's dangerous. And Darius Slay's got a personality. I just wish, it was just a little bit different. I love every single aspect of covering the Detroit Lions, being there, listening and witnessing Matt Patricia work through answers and things like that, kind of seeing which beat writer asks what kind of question. I'm definitely getting a PhD education in reporting, and it's great. There's so many good reporters covering the Detroit Lions. But the one thing, if there was one critique, it's that the media and the athletes' relationship could be a lot better. I mean, literally, I'll share an example. Romeo Okwara, the defensive end, and I'm wondering if there's going to be another story about it. I just thought that his story that, his teammate Matthew Stafford is, vacationing and taking some time in his bye week and going to New York, and, he's enjoying time with his wife, away from football, away from the kids. He's enjoying time, and he goes, and Romeo Okwara is somebody that has a creative outlet. And Matthew Stafford went to see his exhibit, a nice exhibit, that was featured in New York about New York firefighters. So I'm like, okay, I get a chance on Friday, and I go and ask him, but he just didn't really elaborate, and I had sent you the audio, and I'm like, man, I kind of really want to put something together, and I think I will, but it was something where, I'm not certain he's ever really talked to the media that much, and I maybe will take an opportunity again to talk to him. But, it just didn't feel like, it wasn't even a football-related question. It was just talking about, hey, your love of photography, and he just really didn't elaborate a whole heck of a lot. And maybe, like I said, you're so hyper-focused on football, but you just get a sense that there's, like, punishment or there's, reprimands if something happens between, an athlete and the media. And that shouldn't be the case. I mean, I understand the Bill Belichick way. Whatever stays, whatever happens in the building stays in the building. But at the same time, I'm not asking you about football. I'm asking you about photography and, shedding light on it. And maybe I didn't ask good enough questions, and I'll get your sense of it because I did send you the audio. I don't know if you listened to it or not. But I just wish that they would be a little bit more open that, look, there's going to be things written and there's going to be things said, but at the end of the day, like I've said before in previous podcasts, if someone came up to me and asked me, I would tell, look, I did a podcast, earlier this week called Off the Field. And literally, I listened back to it. I'm like, dang, I love this so much that when they'd ask me a question, I rattled off 4-minute answers to every question they said, because they asked me about, definitely check it out, the Off the Field podcast. And I gave 5-minute answers to everything because I was loving that they were interviewing me about the project and how I got it from the basement to Sports Illustrated. I was talking about, all the work that we're doing and how, making goals is important. I was loving talking about it. I just wish that there was a little bit more of a willingness to kind of share that with the media, because at the same time, yeah, the media is going to critique, but you also have a platform when, a guy from SI is asking you a question about photography. You could have gave like a 5-minute answer about, your love of it, the project that you did. I got to do a little bit more research myself on my end to see what these photos look like, but I just wish it was a little bit easier in terms of the athlete. And I'll share this too, a little bit on the inside. I think it's funny too, because, it's a little bit playful jab. So, a lot of times in the media sessions, there's a couple guys that are obligated to talk. Right. But at the same time, a lot of the athletes just don't come through that 45-minute window. They're just not in the locker room. Right. So one day we walk in and I didn't know who said it, but we walk in and someone really loud goes, "Oh, fucking media." And I turned my head. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know who that was. So I just kept walking. Forward. And I'm like, OK, some guys kind of, are a little bit passive aggressive with it. And they're like, don't talk to them or don't give them time. Like them. I'm not a them. I'm a person. I'm not the effing media. I'm just the media. I'm just a guy asking questions. And look, if there's ever an issue, you can always, we're there most of the time. If you have an issue with something someone writes, just go up to them and say, hey, why'd you write this? And and you can have a conversation. It doesn't have to be this, toxic kind of vibe that the media is this negative thing, in my opinion, because look, we're just asking questions, trying to frame stories in a way that's factual and informative. And I just, like I said, I just kind of actually, Vito, I just want to be interviewed all day long. Like I told you last time and a couple weeks ago, if you stuck a microphone in my face and someone said, hey, I'm John with SI, I'd be like, oh man, what's up? Tell me about SI. What's up? I'd interview the person. I'd enjoy it, but it just seems like, from what I've seen, they just want to run out that door to the practice or to eat as fast as humanly possible.
John, are you done, by the way? I should have timed how long you went right there.
That was a good 4 minutes there.
I didn't even speak for all that time. You know me, I like to speak myself and have my own opinion expressed. But here's the thing, John. About Romeo and others, not everybody has as big of an ego as you do. They want to talk about themselves all day long and spew BS and nonsense, where you do, and you would love to talk to all media outlets out there about your nonsense and spew BS. So these dudes like Romeo are just more to themselves, right? And some guys, hey, we know it, it's human nature, but some guys are just more like that. They want to keep stuff to themselves. They don't want to express it to the masses. And then they're just not comfortable around new people and around media members. And the individual, whomever said that about the media, might have said it jokingly too, remember?
Yeah.
I'm a sarcastic guy. I'm a guy that might say something like that if I was an athlete as well. I wouldn't mean it, and I probably would use the F-bomb, but I would probably say something half-heartedly just to see how people, the media specifically, would react to it. So, there's that as well, and it could have been a playful jab at the media and just something, once again, said half-heartedly. So remember that as well. And I think when you are a media member, too, and you deal with criticism, just like with athletes, you can't take too much to heart, right? I think you see that as well. And you're probably starting to see that more and more now as you're in the locker room and in clubhouses. And you see with these athletes, they might take a jab at you, but guess what? We're taking jabs at them, so they have the right to take jabs at us. That's how I view it, John. And I think just it's human nature to at times want to give out a little playful jab even.
Yeah, because it's interesting. He's a young cat, too. I think he's only 24 years old. Maybe, like I said, you're right. Maybe he's a little bit more withdrawn. Maybe it was the first time someone even asked him about himself, too. And I came out of my shell around 30, so I could understand that. But, I just think that if you're an athlete, too, you got to have that ego. You got to have that, an opportunity to at least go, okay, I may not like it, but I can advance the cause, because if you give a lot of detail, my piece is a lot better. Maybe a lot more people see it and a lot more people, get the intended message. But yeah, I can understand they're hyper-focused, but you just get a vibe that they've been told, don't say anything, don't talk, don't.
Well, it is. I think that's told by the higher-ups, by the PR, by the media relations staff, for all these organizations at the professional level, even at the collegiate level. You see it at Michigan State, the PR dudes, the media relations guys. They're telling their athletes, hey, don't speak to this guy or don't talk about this subject. So I think you're seeing that. I know it's happened before, but it might even be more widespread now because of the advent of social media. This day and age in which we live in, this social media craziness. Because of that, too, I think PR people and the representatives for these athletes are saying it more and more to their athletes that, hey, you can't go out and talk about this or watch talking about this subject around this media individual, John Charles McElroy. Watch what you say around him because he's going to take what you said and spread it like wildfire. And then, all joking aside, there are these media members and these guys that think they're media dudes at least that don't know how to take a quote and then run with it and do actually misrepresent the individual that they're talking about via the utilization of a quote from this individual. So there is that as well. I know at times with these guys that are the bloggers, right, or the guys that are the dirty members of the media that don't know how to react to a quote, don't know how to write a story based on that quote, and then misrepresent that athlete. So athletes have to be aware of that in this day and age of social media, and I think they are more and more readily aware of that as well, which is a good thing for the athletes.
Okay, break it down, Vito. What are you going to see happening this Monday night? How do you see the game shaking out? Do you see the Lions going into Lambeau and winning, or do you see a real close game? I think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 28-27 either way, but right now, as we're recording, I'm leaning a little bit towards the Packers winning.
I think Packers win, but I think it's a devastating loss for the Lions in which they suffer a close defeat. So the Lions, as they usually do, it seems like, they tease you, and they're going to tease all of us as Lions fans and pundits alike on Monday night and lose a close one at Lambeau.
All right. That's it. Good podcast, Vito. I always enjoy recording with you. Definitely follow Vito on Twitter at Vito Jerome. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time this morning. Definitely listen to Two Bad Hombres and all the other podcasts available on this platform. Thanks again, Vito, for your time.
Hey, also Sunday to Dominic and Vito coming out tomorrow. Remember that as well. We feature a little interview with Malik Carr, 4-star wide receiver from Oak Park High School that just committed to Purdue. And if you follow me on Twitter at Vito Jerome, you'll see his announcement video as well. A really cute video. And check it out. It's a good one to check out. And, do me a favor and follow me on Twitter at Vito Jerome as well.
Great.
Adios, guys.
Adios, Vito. Great job. I look forward to hearing that interview. Definitely listen to Sundays with Dominic and Vito. This Sunday, he features an interview with the newest Purdue commit in NCAA basketball. Talk soon, Vito.
Adios.